Hello and welcome to this continuing first look exploring session looking at the Goblins by John Suckling. And this is a positively succulent play from the
Taxi!
1630s. And yes, I apologize. We're halfway through it. We've done the first three acts. We have two acts to go. It's not a long play. It has on paper a cast of thousands. One of our job is to try and today figure out how we diminish, because we're really enjoying it so far. Of course, the curse of the final session may strike, and we may now find that it all turns to ash in our hands. But we shall see. Reading today, luckily, the person who has only one straightforward part, reading Samorat and Epilogue is
Donald in Northamptonshire in England.
everyone else is looking at their spreadsheets and weeping in despair. Reading Nassurat, First Devil, Tamoren, and Stramador is
Aliki.
reading Pellegrin, Second Devil, Prince and Ardellan is
Hello, I'm Lynn. I'm in the northwestern United States.
reading Captain Peridor and Sabrina is
Aidan in Dublin, in Ireland.
reading Second Fiddler, Reginella, Clown Poet, First Judge, and Torcular is
Alan Scott, also available for Uncle Tom Copley.
reading First Fiddler, Orsabrin, Philatel, and Piramont is
Lois in London.
And I'm your host, Robert Crighton. I will be reading stage directions as well as soldiers, thief, servant, messenger, lawyer, second judge, and jailer, which sounds like a lot, but I genuinely have less to say than everybody else. Except in between scenes when you can't shut me up. So without further ado, we're going to dive into Act 4, Scene 1. Enter Samorat, Nassurat, and Pellegrin.
Good faith, 'tis wondrous well. We have e'en done like eager disputers, and with much ado are got to be just where we were. This is the corner of the wood.
Ah, 'tis indeed.
Had we no walking fire nor saucer-eyed dell of these woods that led us? Now I am as weary as a married man after the first week, and have no more desire to move forward than a post horse that has passed his stage.
But yonder's the knight too, stealing away with her black gown about her, like a kind wench that had stayed out the last minute with a man.
What shall we do, gentlemen? I apprehend falling into this jailer's hands strangely. He'd use us worse than we did him.
And that was ill enough of conscience. What think you of turning beggars? Many good gentlemen have done it. Or thieves?
That's the same thing at court. Begging is but a kind of robbing the exchequer.
Look, 4.5 fathoms. OOS?
I think that's authentic. I think that's accurate. I think it might be ooze.
Okay, look, 4.5 fathoms ooze in contemplation of his mistress. There's a feast. You and I are out now, Pellegrin. 'Tis a pretty trick, this enjoying in absence. What a rare invention 'twould be if a man could find out a way to make it real.
Dost think there's nothing in it, as 'tis?
Nothing. Didst never hear of a dead Alexander raised to talk with a man? Love's a learned conjurer, and with a glass of fancy will do as strange things. You thrust out a hand, your mistress thrusts out another. You shake that hand, that shakes you again. You put out a lip, she puts out hers. Talk to her, she shall answer you. Marry, when you come to grasp all this, it is but air.
It was unlucky. Gentlemen, the day appears. This is no place to stay in. Let's to some neighbouring cottage. Maybe the searchers will neglect the nearer places, and this will best advance into our safety.
Enter fiddlers.
Or there?
Now, if the spirit of melancholy should possess him,
Aye, if it should. An honourable retreat.
I have the rarest fancy in my head. Whither are you bound, my friend, so early?
to a wedding, sir.
Wedding? I told you so. Whose?
A country wench is here hard by, one Erblin's daughter.
Good. Erblin. The very place to see how things fall out. Hold, here's money for you. Mark you must assist me in a small design.
Oh, anything.
What does this mean?
Let me alone. I have a plot upon a wench.
Oh, your worship is merry.
Yes, faith, to see her only. Look you, some of you shall go back to the town and leave us your coats. My friend and I are excellent at a little instrument, and then we'll sing catches rarely.
Oh shoot, I think where
I think you understand me not, Pellegrin.
Oh, I don't. I understand thee not.
Thou hast no more forecast than a squirrel, and hast less wise consideration about thee. Is there a way safer than this? Dost think what we have done will not be spread beyond this place with every light? Should we now enter any house thus near the town and stay all day, would be suspicious. What pretense have we?
He speaks reason, Samorat.
I do not like it. Should anything fall out, would not look well. I'd not be found so much out of myself, so far from home as this disguise would make me, almost for certain of safety.
Certainty? Why, this will give it us. Pray let me govern once.
Well, you suffered first with me, now 'tis my turn.
Pity name, not suffering.
Come, your coats. Our beards will suit rarely to them. There's more money, not a word of anything, as you tender.
Oh, sir.
And see you carry it gravely, too. Now, for me, Pellegrin's rarely translated. Sfoot, they'll apprehend the head of the bass viol as soon as thee, thou art so like it. Only I must confess that has a little the better face.
Has it so, pox on thee? Thou lookest like I cannot tell what.
Why, so I would, fool. The end of my disguise is to have not know what I am.
Enter a devil.
Look, a devil airing himself. I'll catch him like a mole ere he can get underground.
Surat?
Pox of that noise! He's earthed. Prithee, let's watch him and see whether he'll leave again.
Art mad?
By this light, 3 or 4 of their skins, and we'd rob. 'Twould be the better way. Come, let's go.
And exeunt. Enter captain and soldiers.
Let the horse skirt about this place. We'll make a search within.
Exeunt and enter again.
Now disperse. In the hollow of the wood we'll meet again.
And exit. Enter Samorat, Nassurat, Pellegrin, and the fiddlers. Who goes there? Speak! Oh, they're fiddlers. Saw you no men nor horse in the wood today as you came along.
Speak, rogue!
He pulls one of the fiddlers by the skirt.
None, sir.
Pass on. Exeunt soldiers.
Gentlemen, what say you to the invention now? I'm a rogue if I do not think I was designed for the helm of state. I am so full of nimble stratagems that I should have ordered affairs and carried it against the stream of a faction with as much ease as a skipper would laver it against the wind.
And exeunt. Enter captain and soldiers meeting.
What, no news of any?
No, not a man stirring. Enter other soldiers. They cry, "So, away, away!"
What, any discovery?
Yes, the horse has stayed 3 fellows, fiddlers they call themselves. There's something in it. They look suspiciously. One of them has offered at confession once or twice, like a weak stomach at vomiting, but would not out.
A little cold iron thrust down his throat will fetch it up. I am excellent at discovery, and can draw a secret out of a knave with as much dexterity as a barber surgeon would a hollow tooth. Let's join forces with them.
And exeunt. And finally, the end of the scene. Even though people entered and exited this scene at great a number of times, it's not overly. We've got everybody exits and then just comes straight back on again.
Yes. To be fair, they did that a lot yesterday as well, didn't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah, but
The shtick.
It's what this play does.
yeah, but it's like you do kind of feel like we're missing some bits.
I feel like we must be missing some business. I can sort of imagine
Hmm.
people in tree costumes moving about as soon as they leave, and then they come back on, and then kind of thing.
Because we got them changing costumes, we've got this sort of setup, we got a certain amount of just stuff at the very beginning of the scene where I'm sort of going, I'm trying to remember what these guys are actually doing now. It's like we were so caught up in the action earlier. What are they actually now doing? What is their game plan in terms of plot? These three.
They helped Orsabrin escape, didn't
Yes, but what are they doing?
What are they doing
Basically
now?
crashing a wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, the question I'm asking is, why is anything happening? And I know this is a dumb question to ask, and I'm sure there's a reason.
About this play particularly.
Yeah, but because we've lost the momentum, I now sort of care that I don't know what's going on. I'm sure in a minute I'll be fine because stuff will be happening for no reason at all. Lois.
I think the point is that everybody is lost. I mean, they say at the beginning that they've come right back to where they started. And I think they were meant to be meeting Orsabrin, weren't they? Because they had horses ready to run away. But then Orsabrin came out and promptly got taken away by someone else and by the Goblins, I think. So they're now here. I think, incidentally, that I think I know what was going on in that OOS thing, though I don't know what OOS means. But Samorat apparently is just completely lost in thought, and the other two guys comment on it, and then he kind of, as it says, starts out of his study. In other words, his meditation, or I don't know if he's thinking about Sabrina or what, but I mean, it seems eminently cuttable, whatever it is. But I don't know the OOS. I kept trying to think whether they're saying, "Oh, Samorat" or something, but.
I am sort of midway through trying to find it and see if there's an obvious error that's just occurred. It could just be an OCRing error, but I have a thing in the back of my memory saying no, that's what was written, but I could be wrong. Aliki.
Okay, so Samorat still has his sweetheart's brothers after him, so he needs to escape. And that's part of why the horses and so on. And presumably the other two are escaping with him, either because they think they're going to be caught for aiding in Orsabrin's prison break, or because they're just his good friends and they want to help him escape.
I also just love the way the devils just sort of wander. It's just look a devil airing himself, which creates an image that actually the play can't quite fulfill. But. Taking just a little peregrination, a little
not for an all ages audience.
Yeah, exactly. And then we get all this business with the captain and the soldiers, and it's a lot of business with not a lot of dialogue for it.
I think it was Alan who made a joke about W.S. Gilbert yesterday, and there is something of that here. I think you can sort of see this. Our heroes going away with cat-like tread, and they're pursued by the baddies.
They've gone for these disguises, and it clearly seems to have failed almost immediately. It's just they say they're fiddlers.
You know what this is? This is just a buffer scene between two scenes with Orsabrin in it.
I think it does have some there is a difference of we are in a slightly different place, but you're right, but then I'm getting the impression that every scene is a buffer scene between Orsabrin doing something
because shit just keeps happening to that poor guy.
Because he's escaped prison once and now he's basically been imprisoned again, but by the bad guys,
but the bad guys know who he really is, and they've given him nice clothes, and they've introduced him to a girl they obviously want him to marry. So I think this may be the beginning of good things for Orsabrin. Although he's in prison at the moment.
Yes, I mean he doesn't know he's in for a good thing. He just knows he's now been, weird stuff still happening. Poor Orsabrin. Okay. Let us move on. Act 4, Scene 2. Orsabrin discovered in prison, bound.
Sure, 'tis eternal night with me. Would this were all too, for I begin to think the rest is true, which I have read in books, and that there's more to follow.
Enter Reginella.
Sure, this is he.
She unbinds him.
The pure and first created light broke through the chaos thus. Keep off, thou brighter excellence, thou fair divinity. If thou comest near, so tempting is the shape thou now assumest, I shall grow saucy in desire again, and entertain bold hopes, which will but draw more and more fresh punishment upon me.
I see you're angry, sir, but if you kill me too, I mean no ill. That which brought me hither was a desire to be with you, rather than those I live with. This is all, believe it.
With me? Oh, thou kind innocence, witness all that can punish falsehood, that I could live with thee, even in this dark and narrow prison, and think that all happiness confined within these walls. Oh, hadst thou but as much of love as I.
Of love? What's that?
Why, 'tis a thing that's had before 'tis known. A gentle flame that steals into a heart and makes it like one object so that it scarce cares for any other delights when that is present, and is in pain when 'tis gone, thinks of that alone, and quarrels with all other thoughts that would intrude and so divert it.
This be love. Sure, I have some of it. It is no ill thing, is it, sir?
Oh, most divine, the best of all the gods strangely abound in it, and mortals could not live without it. It is the soul of virtue and the life of life.
Sure, I should learn it, sir, if you would teach it.
Alas, thou taught'st it me. It came with looking thus.
They gaze upon one another. Enter Peridor.
I will no longer be concealed, but tell her what I am, before this smooth-faced youth hath taken all the room up in her heart. Ha! Unbound, and sure by her, hell and furies. What ho! Within there.
Enter other thieves.
Practice escapes? Get me new irons to lead him unto death.
Ah, I'm so used to this, it takes away the sense of it. I cannot think it strange.
Alas, he never did intend to go. Use him for my sake kindly. I was not wont to be denied. Ah me, they are hard-hearted all. What shall I do? I'll to my governor. He'll not be thus cruel.
And exeunt. What is this earth thing called kissing? Explain to me, what is love?
Uh-huh.
How many episodes
I'm
of Star
sorry.
Trek
It's
is
just
this?
cute. It's just adorable.
But I mean, I'm sure Aliki is with me on the Star Trek side of things. It is like, oh, please explain to me emotions less.
I feel so strange when I look at you, man from the spaceship. Yes.
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, there are some really nice lines in there actually. As Liz was saying, it is actually genuinely quite sweet, and it's like someone go on, you explain love. Explain what this concept is. And I think he does a reasonably good job. I think that's fine. I then love the way Peridor sort of comes in and goes, aha, what? No. It's yeah.
Is it
What I
again
love
the
is
case? Sorry.
Orsabrin's reaction, take him away to death. Oh no, not again. Okay.
He basically
I'm used to it.
yeah, it's just like I what's the use of surprise? I am beyond surprise now.
Yes, I think we're back into the swing of stuff happening, but who knows what.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're back in the
Rick
zone.
Willis in that movie with Alan Rickman. What's it called? Like, how does this keep happening to the same guy?
Oh yeah,
Die Hard.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
yes.
Other Christmas films are available. So
Controversial statement.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, we're back to much happier with that because it's got Orsabrin being just really confused. That makes me happy. I mean, it's Orsabrin's day off. Let's call it. Right. Anyway, pull it back. Serious discussion of a play from the early modern
of art, drama.
Yes. Act 4, Scene 3. Enter Samorat, Nassurat, and Pellegrin, because...
"'Tis a rare wench, she in the blue stockings. What a complexion she had when she was warm! 'Tis a hard question of these country wenches which are simpler, their beauties or themselves. There's as much difference betwixt a town lady and one of these as there is betwixt a wild pheasant and a tame."
Right. There goes such essencing, washing, perfuming, daubing to the other, that they are the least part themselves. Indeed, there's so much sauce a man cannot taste the meat.
"Let me kiss thee for that. By this light, I hate a woman dressed up to her height worse than I do sugar with muscadine. It leaves no room for me to imagine I could improve her if she were mine. It looks like a jade with his tail tied up in ribbons going to a fair to be sold."
No, thou hatest out of another reason, Nassurat.
"Prithee, what's that?"
Why, they're so fine they are of no use that day.
Pellegrin is in good feeling. "Sirrah, didst mark the lass in green upon yellow, how she bridled in her head and danced a stroke in and a stroke out, like a young fillet training to a pace?
And how she kissed as if she had been sealing and delivering herself up to the use of him that came last, parted with her sweetheart's lips still as unwillingly and untowardly as soft wax from a dry seal."
True, and when she kisses a gentleman, she makes a curtsy, as who should say the favor was on his side. What dull fools are we to besiege a face 3 months for that trifle? Sometimes it holds out longer, and then this is the sweeter flesh, too."
Enter fiddlers.
You shall have horses ready at the time, and good ones too, if there be truth in drink. And for your letters, they are there by this.
An excellent officer.
Enter Wedding of Clowns.
That's a good one. Faith, not dance. Come, strike up.
They dance. In that time, enter soldiers muffled up in their cloaks.
Who are those that eye us so severely? Belong they to the wedding?
I know I'm not.
Gentlemen, will it please you to dance?
Clowns offer their women to them to dance. No, keep your women. We'll take our others here. Samorat, if I mistake not.
Ah, betrayed.
There is a bustle.
Now, what's the matter? These are fiddlers.
These are no fiddlers, fools. Obey the prince's officers unless you desire to go to prison too.
The thought of what must follow disquiets not at all. But tamely thus to be surprised in so unhandsome a disguise.
They carry him away.
Is't even so? Then farewell the plumed troops in the big wars, which made ambition virtue.
Aye, let them go, let them go.
Have you ever a stratagem, Nassurat? Would be very seasonable. What think you now? Are you designed for the helm of state? Can you labor against the tempest?
Prithee, let me alone. I am thinking for life.
Yes, 'tis for life indeed, would it or not.
Strange. Let's follow after and see if we can understand it.
And Dex says, "Oh, I love the clowns." And it's like all the supernumeraries are just going, why is stuff happening around here? I mean, it's just like, again, I think we could go for literal clowns, but in this sense, I think clown is just meaning rustic wedding kind of logic, isn't it? And yeah, it's nice to know that, they're having so much fun at the wedding. So, happy days. Lois.
Yeah, I mean they were on their way to this rustic wedding before. I can't make out whether they're coming on apparently talking about it. I assumed it all happened off stage, but then the
Yeah.
clowns come on. So then maybe this is the excuse for a clown dance, some more fun.
Yeah, I get the impression that they've gone to the wedding. The wedding's been nice. This is now the point when they're supposed to do sort of post-wedding music, and that's the way it's working. But it wasn't very clear. It also wasn't quite clear what was going on with the soldiers and the fiddlers and the people disguised as fiddler earlier, as to whether anyone got captured at that point or whether they were just chasing them around the stage. It seems like they just saw them and they hadn't really stopped anyone at this point.
Yeah,
So.
I don't remember a moment when some soldier said, "Oh, I think these guys are suspicious. Let's follow them," or something.
Yeah,
there was.
Yeah, there was this moment, but it almost sounded like they'd actually just arrested them off stage. That's how it felt like it had happened.
Yeah.
But obviously, that's not what happened. But because it happened off stage, a line of dialogue can go astray in terms of what keeping up with it. But no, abuse our fiddlers. No, of course they wouldn't abuse them. That would be just. So yeah, incredibly fun again. Less keen on some of the back chat between Pellegrin and Nassurat there. It's starting to feel like they're coming on doing witty, and I'm not sure I'm here for that because it's not very good, a lot of it.
Yes, it was a bit of a grim conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just.
I mean, we've had this before with these two. They are very silly young men, and they just do silly at each other. Remember when they were getting drunk in the jail? Same kind of thing.
Yeah, and they keep quoting. They're capping each other, with quotes from plays. That seems to be their specialty.
Yes, maybe we should add a few different quotations in there. If we're going to play that as a game, then I think we can isolate those and or substitute our own for effect. If that's the effect we're going for, then I feel that we can.
From Thomas Middleton.
Yeah.
It's like they're gentlemen of leisure and they go to the theater every day, and so they know these plays by heart. Because it's like they don't have jobs.
Yeah. And poor Samorat, soldiers recognize him and bundle him off.
Yes.
And he's so embarrassed because he's wearing the wrong clothes for this.
Yeah.
Well, that was a major faux pas.
Yeah. I'm not wearing my capturing trousers.
Life's tough.
I'm dressed
arrested
as a
in this hat.
Clothes to be arrested in. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so stuff continues to happen. That's and it's happening to Samorat. And in a sense, Samorat is another one of these people. Stuff seems to happen to quite a lot. So that's sort of keeping that going. Okay. Let's head back to intended victim as entertainment. Act 4, Scene 4. Enter Peridor and Orsabrin.
A mere phantasm raised by art to try thee.
Good, kind devil, try me once more. Help me to the sight of this phantasm again.
Thou art undone. Wert thou not amorous in the other world? Didst not love women?
Who did hate them?
Why, there's it. Thou thoughtst there was no danger in the sin, because 'twas common. Above half of the vast multitude which fills this space, women sent hither, and they are highliest punished still, that love the handsomest.
A very lying devil, this, certainly.
All that had their women with you suffer with us.
By your friendship's favor. Oh, that must be fiendship, surely. By your fiendship's favor, though, there's no justice in that. Some of them suffered enough in all conscience by 'em here.
Oh, this is now your mirth. But when you shall be pinched into a jelly or made into a cramp all over, these will be sad truths.
He talks oddly now. I do not like it. Dost hear? Prithee, exchange some of thy good counsel for deeds. If thou beest an honest devil, as thou seemst to be, put a sword into my hand and help me to the sight of this apparition again.
Well, something I'll do for thee, or rather for myself.
Excellent. Enter 2 other devils.
Come, let's go relieve our poet.
How? Relieve him? He's not released? He's released, is he not?
No. Bersat bethought himself at the mouth of a cave and found he would be necessary to our masque tonight. We have set him with his feet in a great tub of water in which he dabbles and believes it to be Helicon. There he's contriving in the honor of Mercury, who I have told him comes this night of a message from Jupiter to Pluto and is feasted here by him.
Enter thieves with poet.
Oh, they have fetched him off.
Quera per solo quera, or he that made the fairy queen.
No,
No,
none
no.
of these. They are by themselves in some other place. But here's he that writ Tamerlane.
Beseech you, bring me to him. There's something in his scene betwixt the Empress a little high and cloudy. I would resolve myself.
You shall, sir. Let me see. The author of The Bold Beechams and England's Joy.
The last was a well-written piece, I assure you. Britain, I take it. Shakespeare's very way. I desire to see the man.
Excuse me, no seeing here. The gods, in compliment to Homer, do make all poets poor above, and we all blind below. But you shall confess, sir. Follow. To the play again. But we should mention England's Joy. We have covered it before. A famous iteration of every winter wonderland that goes horribly, horribly wrong, or the Fire Festival, if you want to be on a different scale. Supposedly the best show ever, privately hired, hiring of the Swan Theatre. When the show turned out to be basically non-existent and rubbish, the entire audience rioted, looted what they could that wasn't nailed down from the Swan, and arrested the man who was running away with the takings on a horse. And it was a big scandal. So when you have a line saying, let me see, the author of England's Joy, and the last was a well-writ piece, I mean, there won't be this is a scandal that's 30 years old by this point, and the guy never lived it down. They just shout England's Joy at him across the street. So it's a topical reference that's not even very topical. Even then. We've got a scene that sort of moves the plot on or reminds us of the plot, and then we have this random scene that doesn't seem to have any function apart from to do some jokes. Lois.
Yeah, I think querer por solo querer. I'd have to look this up, but this is a play, to love for love's sake, and I think it was translated, but I was trying to remember if that was the one that Charles and Buckingham saw when they were in Spain. Because there was one. It was produced by, I think, an all-female cast of court ladies. I could be wrong. It might be something else, or it might be something that somebody translated in this period. But anyway, again, it's something that people might have heard of.
Aliki.
So I think one of the games with the devils, and I was starting to work it out yesterday, is when they're in devil mode and when they're unmasked, as it were. And this is a little unmasked scene. Oh, what have we got him believing? We've got him believing that. And then when they go and meet the poet or anybody else that they talk to, they'll be like, we will pinch you and pinch you.
Yeah.
And that's also the game with Peridor.
Yeah. Yes, Peridor has an agenda. He's, and he's explaining the way this sort of hellscape functions to this person who's blindfolded, and in a sense, this doesn't really move the plot on at all. Any of this, it's sort of like we've been here before. So we have a short scene with Peridor and Orsabrin. They exit, and then we have this sort of bridging moment, and then in a moment that Peridor and Orsabrin are going to come straight back on again. So I'm kind of wondering if maybe some trims or adjustments or things here. I'm not sure. Is this journey really necessary? We may find out that it was in a moment. Any other thoughts? Also, just the designation there, because we got first and second devil, and then we have first thief. Now, presumably, a thief brings the poet on, but that first thief could actually be the first devil because again, because they're all thieves, and they're all devils. I mean, it's just a different variation of their disguise and their setup. So I think we can sensibly tidy that up in terms of the way it logics.
The only reason I can think of for this is to bring us back into the whole concept. Hey, remember, these are the guys who are pretending to be demons from hell and aren't really.
And I guess this poet is going to turn up again at the end doing something, so they're sort of reminding us. And then there are all these nice literary references. This is actually quite interesting. I mean, that the poet wants to meet Marlowe and find out what exactly he meant in the scene between the empresses, which I take it as the sort of flighting scene. There's a brief bit where Xenocrate and Zabina are insulting each other. I take it he must mean that. Unless there's another Tamerlane.
Well, there is a Tamerlan, which is a different set of two-part plays that don't exist. It might be more a reference to that rather than Tamburlaine, which we know and Lava, etc. So it's just a question of what do you do with scenes like this, where it's sort of like the poet is there for a certain running gag, and I'm not sure whether the gag is actually going to be resolved or go anywhere. It might do. I don't think this is it for the poet, but it's weirdly underdeveloped. It doesn't really feel like a properly realized scene. It looks like this first draft sketch of, okay, this is where I think this is going. I'll work on it and tidy it up later.
First draft is good. I mean, a lot of it does feel like somebody almost making it up as he goes along.
It's got all the plot beats, but there's no detailing going on, and that's sort of we've encountered that a few times in the past, and it is quite short. So, but it's clearly, I think we've got enough evidence from the period to suggest that this is, broadly speaking, a thing that was performed and was a thing. So unless they published the first draft rather than the actual prompt copy. But it also speaks of a prompt copy in the sense of the way that it doesn't have exits and things like that. It has the data for getting people onto the stage without necessarily always all the data of getting people off, which suggests, again, a playbook sort of logic.
And there's a kind of stage direction that you don't usually get in the sort of official one. I mean, things that sound like the author, what's going on, rather
crying and
So Lynn, then Alan.
Yeah, I kind of think the poet gag is a sight gag. I suspect that this character looks like someone who was well known around London, like Ben Jonson, who was notoriously overweight, and he was younger than some of his rivals. So, and although he was very unhealthy at the end of his life, lived to be fairly old. So so he might be alive in memory. It's like Ben Jonson, this like giant of a man out of a special chair made for him because he was so heavy. My guess is he looks like someone who was a famous self-styled poet in London, and so the audience recognizes him.
Alan, then Aliki.
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether what we've got is effectively not exactly a first draft, but it's almost akin to a panto script of comic to insert business here. Do your own shtick for 5. You've got 5 minutes to fill.
Yeah, I mean, assuming that was something you could get away with in any sort of length, certainly improvisation did exist, but it's relatively controlled, and this is relative. The amount of additional material to get this up to a length that we expect plays to be. It's weird because it feels like it is fully formed, apart from all the bits that just feel like it's just like you skip over the side of a page every so often, because it's not like it's unworked in terms of the way the dialogue flows and when people are talking. It's just there's just seems not enough, and it's like there's so much emphasis on physical business, and that's something we don't get very often, actually. The pure Keystone Cops running on and off. You can hear the Benny Hill theme tune in the background sometimes. Anyway, Aliki.
I was going to say very much the same thing. Could it be a guide to improvisation by a writer who knows the company very well?
I say it's the problem with the whole question about improvisation is just how much you can get away with it with the way licensing functioned. I mean, and the fact that it, by its definition, can't be really recorded. That we can't know precisely what the boundaries are. And here, I say, because it's quite a literary joke with this poet. It's a series of little one-liners that he's there as the setup and the fall guy for. Anyway. For us, it's either a leaping off point or a cut. I think that's the the options we've got there. Cut it to shreds, cut it completely, or just improv around it. Okay, Act 4, Scene 5. Enter Peridor and Orsabrin, who have not been off for very long.
Ah, light and the fresh air again. The place I know too, the very same I fought the duel in. The devil was in the right. This was a mere apparition, but 'twas a handsome one. It left impressions here, such as the fairest substance I shall e'er behold will scarce deface. Well, I must resolve, but what or where? Aye, that's the question. The town's unsafe, there's no returning thither, and then the port.
Some clowns pass over hastily.
What means the busy haste of these? Honest friend, dost hear? No? What's the matter, pray?
Gentlemen.
That's good satisfaction indeed. Prithee, good fellow, tell me, what causes all this hurry?
Enter another.
One Samorat is led to prison, sir, and another gentleman about Lord Torcular.
Samorat. Oh, there is no mean nor end of fortune's malice. Oh, 'tis insufferable. I'm made a boy whipped on another's back. Cruel, I'll not endure it, by heaven. He shall die for me? I will not hold a wretched life upon such wretched terms.
Enter Tamoren, Peridor, and others.
Fly abroad, search every place, and bring him back. Thou hast undone us all with thy neglect, destroyed the hopes we had to be ourselves again. I shall run mad with anger. Fly, begone!
Exeunt all but Tamoren. Enter Reginella.
My Reginella, what brings you abroad?
Dear Governor, I have a suit to you.
To me, my pretty sweetness. What?
You will deny me, sir, I fear. Pray, let me have the stranger that came last in keeping.
Stranger? Alas, he's gone, made an escape.
I feared he would not stay. They used him so unkindly. Indeed, I would have used him better, and then he had been here still.
She weeps.
Come, do not weep, my girl. Forget him, pretty pensiveness. There will come others every day as good as he.
Oh, never! I'll close my eyes to all now he's gone.
How catching are the sparks of love! Still, this mischance shows more and more unfortunate. I was too curious. Come, indeed, you must forget him. The gallantest and the goodliest to the eye are not the best. Such handsome and fine shapes as these are ever false and foul within.
Why, Governor, do you then put your finest things still in your finest cabinets?
Pretty innocence, no, I do not. You see, I place not you there. Come, no more tears. Let's in and have a mate at chess. Diversion cures a loss, or makes it less.
And excerpt. So many things nobody should say. Was there a method for Orsabrin's escape?
Yes, Peridor let him out.
Ah, right, yes. So it was made clear earlier.
Peridor was jealous, so he lets him out, and that's why Tamoren is cursing him in the beginning of the scene. You've ruined everything!
Yeah, you've ruined
makes sense.
our cunning plan. Um, we've been working on this for ages. Did nobody read the memo?
Decades, apparently.
Yeah.
Well, Peridor wouldn't be very happy with it anyway, since he wants to marry Reginella himself. So
Yeah.
So he's probably working against Tamoren, although Tamoren presumably doesn't know that Peridor is also in love with Reginella.
Yeah. It's all very complicated, isn't it?
Didn't we have another play where the long lost heirs to something were pretending to be Spanish gypsies and traipsing all around and going, look at us, we are such entertainers.
Yes.
Reminds me of that, yeah.
Yeah. There are quite a few plays like that, actually.
Yeah, there are.
I'm thinking of one in particular, but I'm sure there are.
I think that's probably the Spanish gypsy.
Right, that's why I said Spanish gypsies.
Yeah, though in this sense, by being devils, they're so much less problematic. Much more straightforward. They work for Satan. Who's not a bad line manager as things go. We're sort of. It's like things are moving, but it feels like there's sort of just marking time a lot here. It's sort of, because it's moving so fast. I mean, I don't feel it's marking time in a sort of like, please end this, let this scene end. But it does feel like these chess pieces are just being moved very swiftly. And yeah, this act didn't feel satisfying in quite the same way as previous ones. But hey, we're heading towards the thrilling conclusion when it will all be revealed that it was the Watcher all along. Any more for Act 4? No. Okay, Act 5, Scene 1. Enter Tamoren, Peridor, and other thieves.
Crossed all the highways, searched the woods, beat up and down with as much pain and diligence as ever huntsman did for a lost deer.
A race of cripples are you, of snails. He could not else have escaped us. Now, what news bring you?
Well, sir, we found him out. The party is in prison.
How in prison?
Oh, for certain, sir. It seems a young Samorat and he were those that fought the duel the other day and left our Torcular so wounded there. For his supposed death was Samorat taken, which when this youth had found, he did attempt to free him, scaling the wall by night, but finding it impossible, next morning did present himself unto the hands of justice, imagining his death, that did the fact an equal sacrifice.
Brave Orsabrin.
Yeah, not knowing that the greedy law asks more and doth prescribe the accessory as well as principal.
Just so, in the very nick of time.
He's troubled.
It will be excellent. But be all in, excuse me, it will be excellent. Be all in soldier's habits straight. Where is Torcular?
Oh, forthcoming, sir.
How are his wounds? Will they endure the air? Under your gabardines wear pistols, Hall.
What does he mean?
Give me my other habit and my sword in the least suspected way. Haste after me.
All?
All but Peridor. I will abroad. My broken hopes and sufferings shall have now some cure. Fortune, spite of herself, shall be my friend, and either shall redress or give them end.
Excellent, all but Peridor.
I found it out. He does intend to fetch this stranger back and give him to Reginella. Or else, no, it must be that. His anger and the search declare it. The secret of the prison house shall out, I swear. I'll set all first on fire, for middle ways to such an end are dull.
And exit Peridor. I like. Okay, it's a new act, so there might have been a mini interval, and I always do wonder whenever there's any kind of interval break, is whether they let new customers into the house, because I feel like the first thief was there to explain the plot to anyone who came in for Act 5.
Well, not only that, an awful lot happened between Acts 4 and 5.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, whoa, that's quite an info burst.
Well, we've already had a comedy prison break scene, so you can't really have another comedy prison break scene that fails, right?
Well, I don't see why not.
It wouldn't be the first time the play's done something for a second time.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Encore. Yeah. So, I mean, in terms of an exposition dump, it's fine, and it's sort of setting up expectation for things to happen, and Peridor gets to do his mission statement again, and yeah, it's sort of I feel like there is an ending approaching. I do feel like there is some momentum here, and that makes me happier than Act 4 left me. Okay. Any more for any more? No, Act 5, Scene 2 then. Enter Prince Philatel and servant. Since she's refused to speak with you, sir, she will not look on any. Language is so fast, her servants fear she will not live to know what does become of him.
Sir, 'tis high time you visit her.
I cannot look upon her and deny her.
Nor need you, sir. All shall appear to her most gracious. Tell her the former part of the law must pass, but when it comes to execute, promise her that you intend to interpose.
And shall then Samorat live?
Oh, nothing less. The censure passed, his death shall follow without noise. 'Tis but not owning of the fact, disgracing for a time a secretary or so. The thing's not new. Put on forgiving looks, sir. We are there.
The scene changes to Sabrina's chamber.
A morning silence. Sister Sabrina.
Hence, thou cruel hunter after life. Thou art a pain unto my eyes as great as my dear mother had when she did bring me forth. And sure, that was extreme, but since she produced a monster.
Speak to her yourself. She's so incensed against me, she will not welcome happiness because I bring it.
Fair ornament of grief, why are you troubled? Can you believe there is anything within my power which you shall mourn for? If you have any fears, impart them. Any desires, give them a name, and I will give the rest. You wrong the greatness of my love to doubt the goodness of it.
Alas, I do not doubt your love, my lord. I fear it. 'Tis that which does undo me. For 'tis not Samorat that's prisoner now, it is the prince's rival. Oh, for your sake, sir, be merciful. How poorly will this sound hereafter. The prince did fear another's merit so, found so much virtue in his rival that he was forced to murder it, make it away. There can be no addition to you, sir, by his death. By his life there will, if you get the point of honour. Fortune does offer here what time perchance cannot regain, a handsome opportunity to show the bravery of your mind.
This pretty rhetoric cannot persuade me, fair, to let your Samorat live for my sake. It is enough he shall for yours.
Though virtue still rewards itself, yet here may it not stay for that. But may the gods shower on you... Forgive me. But may the gods shower on you suddenly much happiness, that may say, my mercy brought me this.
The gods no doubt will hear when you do pray, right ways. But here you take their names in vain, since you can give yourself that happiness, which you do ask of them.
Most gracious sir, do not.
Hold, I dare not hear thee speak, for fear thou now shouldst tell me what I do tell myself, that I would poorly bargain for thy favors. Retire, and banish any fears. I will be kind and just to thee, Sabrina, whatsoe'er thou provest to me.
Exit Sabrina.
Rarely acted, sir.
Huh?
A good faith to the very life.
Acted? 'Twas not acted.
How, sir?
I was in earnest. I mean to conquer her this way. To conquer her this way. The other's low and poor.
Ah,
I told thee 'twould be so before.
why, sir, you do not mean to save him.
Yes, I do. Samorat shall be released immediately.
Sure, you forget I had a brother, sir, and one that did deserve justice at least.
He did, and he shall have it. He that killed him shall die, and 'tis high satisfaction that. Look not, it must be so.
And excellent. So, great acting, great acting. I wasn't acting. Sorry, what? That's true to life, mate. Yeah. So, yeah, the plot moves forward. The languishing acting gets a bit. Sabrina's been reasonably good value, I feel. I mean the various. I say various. The parts of women in this play are not vast, but there is something to be done there. And the prince is starting to come into focus. So, yeah. Not the most exciting scene in the universe, but then Orsabrin isn't on being confused. So I feel like it's just, yeah.
This was the best.
Other thoughts? Aliki, you...
If any of that scene, those two connected scenes, could be given to the earlier act a bit, just to, liven things up and move the final Act 4 scene into this. I don't know, something to,
Yeah, to just also remind us who the hell these people are slightly earlier in the play, so it doesn't feel quite so late action. Yeah, maybe there's a structural thing that could be done there to just even the gaps in the service. Aidan?
I fear setting off a quack, but this feels like setting up a scene in another play that would have gone a different way, that then it undercuts itself by him saying, "Oh no, I'll release him. That's fine." It feels like it's playing against maybe an understood trope there.
Yes, I think the whole play is doing that constantly. I'm not saying we could maybe discuss another time. But yes, I think it's out. There are so many quacks I could be moderating at this point, and I'm just. We can talk to her about it, and later. Not today. Okay. Any more for any more? Otherwise, we'll go into Act 5, Scene 3. Yes, we will. Okay. Enter Stramador and Peridor.
No devils, Stramador. Believe your eyes, to which I cannot be. So lost, but you may mind one, Peridor.
Door. Thou didst command that day in which the Tamorens fell.
I did, yet Tamoren lives. Not Tamoren the prince, he fell indeed, but Tamoren his brother, who that day led our horse. Young Reginella too, which is the subject of the suit you have engaged yourself by oath the prince shall grant.
Oh, 'tis impossible. Instruct me how I should believe thee.
Why thus? Necessity upon that great defeat forced us to keep the woods and hide ourselves in holes, which since we much enlarged and fortified them in the entrance so, that 'twas a safe retreat upon pursuit. Then swore we all allegiance to this Tamoren. These habits better to disguise ourselves we took at first, but finding with what ease we robbed, we did continue and took an oath, till some new troubles in this state should happen, or fair occasion to make ourselves known offer itself, we should appear no other. But come, let's not lose what we shall ne'er recover, this opportunity.
And excellent. Okay, and it's like we hi, would you like to know the plot? Would you like to know the barely concealed backstory that we all kind of knew what it was, but you've actually now explained it? Like the previous scene, I kind of feel this could go somewhere earlier as well. I feel that there is very little value holding this back from the audience when we kind of figured this out in Act 2. If not in Act 1, apart from Reginella, who didn't appear to, I think, Act 3. But yeah, I'm starting to now think that maybe we need to just move a few bits and pieces around or play around with the order of scenes. To even out some of those gaps where so that people aren't just walking off and walking straight back on again. But also to just give the audience a crumb after the interval. Hi, would you like to know who we are? All these people in disguise are? Yes, that'd be nice. Can we have a mission statement, please? Yeah, it's not a very long scene, and again, you get the impression that he's just not interested in developing scenes beyond the thing. They come on, they say the thing, and then they're gone. And yeah, that's sort of fine. That's not inherently. It's a radio script, frankly. Apart from the fact that it's incredibly visual. But in the sense of you just have these short nuggets of information. There. Okay. Any more for any more? Okay. Short scene. Did what it said on the tin. Act 5, Scene 4. Enter Nassurat and Pellegrin in prison.
Nassurat, you have not thought of any stratagem yet?
Yes, I have thought.
What?
That if you have any accounts with heaven, they may go on. This villainous dying is like a strange tune, has run so in my head, no wholesome consideration would enter it. Nothing angers me either, but that I pass my mistress' window to it.
Oh, that's unkind. I have something troubles me, too.
What's that?
The people will say, as we go along, thou art the properer fellow. Then I break an appointment with a merchant's wife. But who can help it, Nassurat?
Yea, who can help it indeed? She's to blame, though, faith, she does not bear, if she does not bear with thee, considering the situation.
Considering the occasion, as you say, a man would think he might be born with. There's a scrivener I should have paid some money to, upon my word, but...
Enter Orsabrin, Samorat, and the prince's servants with Samorat's releasement.
By fair Sabrina's name, I conjure you not to refuse the mercy of the prince.
It is resolved, sir. You know my answer.
Whither am I fallen? I think if I should live a little longer, I should be made the cause of all the mischief which should arise to the world. Hither I came to save a friend, and by a sleight of fortune I destroy him. My very ways to good prove ills. Sure, I can look a man into misfortune. The plague so great within me, 'tis infectious. Oh, I am weary of myself. Sir, I beseech you, yet accept of it, for I shall be this way, a sufferer and an executioner too.
I beg of thee, no more. Thou dost beget in me desire to live. For when I find how much I am behind in noble acts of friendship, I cannot choose but wish for longer time, that I might struggle with thee for what thou hast too clearly now got from me, the point of honour. Oh, it is wisdom and great thrift to die. For who with such a debt of friendship and of love as you and my Sabrina must expect from me could e'er subsist?
They're complimenting, so they make no more of it than if it were who should go in first at a door. I think, Pellegrin, as you and I have cast it up, it comes to something more.
Enter messenger. Gentlemen, prepare. The court is sitting.
Friends, this is no time for ceremony, but what a rack have I within me to see you suffer, and yet I hope the prince will let his anger die in me, not to take the forfeiture of you.
If he should, Pellegrin and I are resolved and are ready, all but our speeches to the people, and those will not trouble us much, for we intend not to trouble them.
And exeunt. And the penultimate scene of the play is done. And yeah, the court is sitting. We're heading towards court. We've got more people being a bit noble. I can look a man into misfortune.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean,
Aliki.
Orsabrin's misfortunes do keep giving great value, don't they? All the way along. It just doesn't stop working as a gag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think with this scene, Nassurat and Pellegrin just came into focus for me. They are the comedy bromance pair to go with the tragedy bromance pair of the other two. And with that, I think we can make them work.
Yeah. I think that makes sense.
It's
Lois.
quite funny the way one of them compares the conflict of nobility between the two tragic romance people to after you, my dear Alphonse. No, after you, Gaston. It's exactly that.
And it's like they're trying to live up to the occasion of going, oh, the things we could have done. I think I should have paid someone the other day.
My girlfriend will be mad at me, but probably she'll forgive me since I'm getting killed.
Yeah, it's quite nicely done. Some of that. There was something else in there as well. The Samorat friends. This is no time for ceremony, but. I think there's hay to be made with that, but I feel like it's let us go. No, I'm going to say some more. And I will now make a noble speech.
Noble.
So we now move into the final scene where everybody turns up. Now, hopefully the doubling works so that nobody talks at the same time, but you are inevitably playing more than one person. I'm playing a few people. Hopefully it will all work and that someone won't have a conversation with themselves, but I'm not going to guarantee it. Okay. Let's run this conclusion, which I'm sure will be dramatic and exciting. Act 5, Scene 5. Enter Prince, Philatel, and attendants.
Not accept it! Lose this way, too! What shall I do? He makes advantages of mine, and like a skillful tennis player, returns my very best with excellent design. It must not be. Bring to the closet here above the chief of the jury. I'll try it another way.
Exeunt to the gallery above. Enter judges, lawyers, Samorat, Orsabrin, Nassurat, and Pellegrin.
Of all ways of destroying mankind, the judges have the easiest. They sleep and do it.
To my thinking now, this is but a solemner kind of puppet play. How the devil came we to be actors in it? So it begins.
The Prince's Council, are they ready?
Here.
Begin then.
My lords, that this is so great and strange.
Most reverend judges, to save the expense of breath and time and dull formalities of law, I here pronounce myself guilty.
A curtain drawn, Prince Philatel with others appear above.
Again he has prevented me.
So guilty that no other can pretend a share. This noble youth, a stranger to everything but gallantry, ignorant in our laws and customs, has made perchance in strange severity a forfeit of himself. But should you take it, the gods, when he is gone, will sure revenge it. If from the stalk you pull this bud of virtue before it has spread and shown itself abroad, you do an injury to all mankind, and public mischief cannot be private justice. This man's as much above a common man as man's above a beast. And if the law destroys not man for killing of a beast, it should not here for killing of a man. Oh, what mistake 'twould be, for here you sit to weed the cankers out that would do hurt in the state to punish vice. And under that you'd root out virtue too.
If I do blush, 'tis not, most gracious judges, for anything which I have done, 'tis for that this much mistaken youth hath here delivered. 'Tis true, and I confess, I ever had a little stock of honor which I still preserved, but that, by leaving me behind alive, he now most cunningly does think to get from me. And I beseech your lordships to assist me, for 'tis most fraudulent, all he desires. Your laws, I hope, are reasonable, else why should reasonable men be subject to them? And then, upon what grounds is he made guilty now? How can he be thought accessory to the killing of a man that did not know of the fighting with him? Witness all these powers which search men's hearts, that I myself, until he beckoned me, knew nothing of it. If such a thing as sacrifice must be, why man for man's enough. though elder times, to appease diviner justice, did offer up, whether through gallantry or ignorance, vast multitudes of beasts in sacrifice, yet numbers of men is seldom heard of. One single Curtius purged a whole state's sin. You will not say the offense is now as great, or that you ought to be more highly satisfied than heaven.
Brave youths.
Pellegrin, you and I will let our speeches alone.
If that the law were so fine a web, as wit and fancy spin it out to here, then these defences will be just and save. But that is more substantial, of another make. And, gentlemen, if this be all, sentence must pass.
But yet, enter Tamoren and Stramador.
Orsabrin!
Who names me there?
A friend. Hear me. I am an officer in that dark world from whence thou camest, sent thus disguised by Reginella, our fair queen, and to redeem thee.
Reginella. In the midst of all these ills, how preciously that name does sound.
Thou wilt swear to follow me at the instant thou art released. I'll save thee and thy friends in spite of law.
Oh, doubt not but of that. Bring me where Reginella is, and if I follow not, perpetual misery follow me. It cannot be a hell where she appears.
Be confident.
He goes out and returns, bringing Torcular.
Behold, grave lords, the man whose death questioned the life of these, found and recovered by the thieves in the woods, and rescued since by us to rescue innocence.
Rare devil, with what dexterity he's raised this shape, up to delude them.
Torcular, alive?
Torcular, I should as soon believe my brother ne'er in being too.
Cannot wonder where more to find me here than I do to find myself.
Come, unbind, this matter's answered.
Hold, they are not free. The law exacts the same for breach of prison that it did before.
There's no escaping out of fortune's hands. Dost hear? Hast ne'er a trick for this?
Doubt me not, I have without at my command those which ne'er failed me, and it shall cost many a life yet, sir, ere yours be lost.
Enter Prince Philatel from above. Stramador, Peridor, and Reginella meet them below.
Stramador, you have been a stranger here of late.
Peruse this paper, sir. You will find there was good reason for it.
How? Old Tamoren's brother, captain of the thieves that have infested thus our country. Reginella, too, the heir of that feared family, and a happy and a strange discovery.
Peridor and Reginella, the villain has betrayed me.
Oh, 'tis Orsabrin. They've kept their words. Reginella, she was a woman then. Oh, let me go.
You do forget sure what you are.
I do indeed. Oh, to unriddle now.
And to this man you owe it, sir. You find an engagement to him there, and I must hope you'll make me just to him.
He does deserve it. Seize on him.
Nay, then all truths must out. That I am lost and forfeit to the law, I do confess. Yet since to save this prince...
Prince?
Our Mephistopheles is mad.
Yes, prince, this is the Orsabrin.
Ah?
So long ago, supposed lost, your brother, sir. Fetch in there Ardellan and Piramont.
Enter Ardellan and Piramont.
What mad planet rules this state? Land?
The devil's wanton and abuses all mankind today.
These faces are well known to all Francelians. Now let them tell the rest.
My noble master living, found in Francelia.
The gods have satisfied our tedious hopes.
Some imposture. A new design of fortune. I dare not trust it.
Why speak you not?
I am so full of joy it will not out. Know, ye Francelians, when Sanborn fatal field was fought, So desperate were the hopes of Orsabrin that 'twas thought fit to send away this prince and give him safety in another clime, that, spite of an ill day, an Orsabrin might be preserved alive. Thus, you all know, to Garridan's chief charge he was committed, who, when our bark by pirates was surprised, for so it was slain in the first encounter. Since that, we have been forced to wait on fortune's pleasure, and, sir, that all this time we kept you from the knowledge of yourself, your pardon, it was our zeal that erred, which did conclude it would be prejudicial.
My lords, you look as if you doubted still. If Piramont and I be lost into your memory, your hands, I hope, are not. Here is our commission. Here's the diamond elephant, that which our prince's sons are ever known by, which we, to keep him undiscovered, tore from his riband on that fatal day when we were made prisoners. And here are those that took us. Who can witness all circumstances, both how and when, time and place, with whom we ever since have lived by force. For on no kingdom, friend, unto Francelia, did fortune ever land us since that hour, nor gave us means to let our country know he lived.
These very truths, when they could have no ends, for they believed him lost, I did receive from them before, which gave me now the boldness to appear here where I'm lost by law.
Long live Prince Orsabrin!
Long live Prince Orsabrin!
Pellegrin, let's second this, right or wrong, 'tis best for us.
Observe, observe. What shouts all those?
Soldiers of Tamoren's the first, the second was the people's, who much pressed to see their long-lost prince.
Sir, 'tis most evident, and all agrees, this was his coloured hair. His hair, though altered much with time, you wear too strange a face upon this news. Sir, you have found a brother. I, Torcular, the kingdom, happiness, for here the plague of robberies will end. It is a glorious day.
It is indeed. I am amazed, not sad. Wonder that keep the passage so nothing will out. Brother, for so my kinder stars will have it, I here receive you as the bounty of the gods, a blessing I did not expect. And in return to them this day Francelia ever shall keep holy.
Fortune, by much abusing me, has so dulled my faith, I cannot credit anything. I know not how to own such happiness.
Let not your doubts lessen your joys. If you have had disasters heretofore, they were but given to heighten what's to come.
It's a strange turn. This was the fifth act in a play.
I'm sure it is a good turn for us.
Sir, why stands that lady so neglected there, that does deserve to be the business of mankind? Oh, ye gods, since you'll be kind and bountiful, let it be here. As fearfully as jealous husbands ask after some secrets which they dare not know, or as forbidden lovers meet in the night, come I to thee. And 'tis no ill sign this, since flames, when they burn highest, tremble most. Oh, should she now deny me?
I know not perfectly what all this means, but I do find some happiness is near, and I am pleased because I see you are.
Oh, she understands me not.
He seems to have passion for her.
Sir, in my dark commands those flames broke out equally violent at first sight, and 'twas the hope I had to reconcile myself.
It is a holy magic that will make of you and I but one.
Anything that you would ask me, sure I might grant.
Ah, hark, gentlemen, she does consent. What wants there else?
My hopes grow cold. I have undone myself.
Nothing. We all join in this. The long-lived feud between the families here dies. This day the hymeneal torches shall burn bright, so bright that they shall dim the light of all that went before. See, Sabrina too.
Enter Sabrina.
Sir, I must have much of pardon, not for myself alone, but for all mine.
Rise, thou hast not deserved what now thou suest for. This day hadst thou not deserved what now thou suest for, this day should know no clouds.
Peridor kneels to Tamoren.
Taught by the prince's mercy, I forgive too.
Freitas, hither, sir. They told me that you would not accept the prince's mercy.
Art thou not further yet in thy intelligence? See, thy brother lives.
My brother?
Aye, and this the least of wonders has fallen out.
Yes, such a one as you are, fair, and you should be acquainted.
Oh, could your hate, my lords, now, or your love die?
Thy merit has prevailed with me.
And me?
And has almost with me. Samorat, thou dost not doubt thy mistress' constancy.
No, sir.
Then I will beg of her that, till the sun return to visit us, she will not give away herself forever. Although my hopes are faint, yet I would have them hopes. And in such jolly hours as now attend us, I would not be a desperate thing, one made up wholly of despair.
You that so freely gave me Samorat's life, which was in danger, most justly may be suffered to attempt upon my love, which is in none.
What says my noble rival?
Sir, you are kind in this, and wisely do provide I should not serve it. For here is happiness enough besides to last the sun's return.
You and I are but savers in all this, Pellegrin, but by the Lord, 'tis well we came off as we did. Oh, it was a stake.
Come, no more whispers here, let's in, and there unriddle to each other, for I have much to ask.
A life, a friend, a brother, and a mistress. Oh, what a day was here! Gently, my joys, distill, lest you should break the vessel you should fill.
And we have an epilogue.
And how in faith, a pretty plot, and smartly carried through too. Was it not? And the devils, how? Well, and the fighting, well too. A fool, and it being just old writing, and oh, what a monster wit must that man have that could please all which now their twelvepence gave. High characters, cries one, and he would see things that ne'er were, nor are, nor ne'er will be. Romances, cries easy souls, and then they swear the play's well writ. Those scarce of good lines there. The women, oh, if Stephen should be killed or miss the lady, how the plot is spilled. And into how many pieces a poor play is taken still before the second day, like a strange beauty newly come to court. And to say truth, good faith, 'tis all the sport. One will like all the ill things in a play, another some of the good, but the wrong way. So that from one poor play there comes to rise at several tables, several comedies. The ill is only here that it may fall out in plays as faces, and who goes about to take asunder oft destroys, we know, what altogether made a pretty show.
End of play. Okay, whilst that epilogue is filled with references to the theatre scene of the time, that one's got a little more legs to it than the prologue did. Yeah, sometimes plays, they get taken off early before they get a chance for their very important second performance. And yeah, some nice little bits and bobs in there. Nassurat really grew on me in that scene. I love the way that you when you were saying earlier, and you sort of put them into focus, Aliki, the way that they're just basically Waldorf and Statler at the back going, this is just don't say anything, you'll break the spell. They'll notice we're still here. Just walk quickly to the exit. Tis well it came off as we did. It's like, they're really quite nice. Also, just generally, hark, gentlemen, she does consent. That's not something you hear in an early modern play desperately often. That was quite nice. As that's a nice little element to the text. So yeah, I think that did most of the things we were expecting it to do. I put in the chat. We've recognized the long lost prince by the color of his hair, and I'm sort of going, that's the prisoner of Zenda, isn't it? It's chiefly the color of his hair that leads to his the impersonation thing. So yeah, there's all of those tropes and cliches and things, they are long in the past, doing interesting things. Who expected the diamond elephant?
No one expected the diamond elephant.
It's just like, was it just a brooch that he had? It was just like,
probably, yeah.
I mean, unless he just really wanted a diamond elephant and was just going, yeah, you'll have to make one for the show. It's just awful.
I think they must have had one in the prop room. Like,
yeah,
what is this?
Well, Sir John's resources might have been quite large, so it might have been a personal prop. Alan.
Yeah, I mean, we've certainly had plots which have resolved on some form of talisman, family heirloom before. This one's oddly specific, and as you suggest, it may be that, well, we've got this prop kicking about. It's about time it got an airing.
I can almost see them going, and who's got the ruby ring for the infant prince? I said, oh, no, we've lost that. Hang on, how about the diamond elephant?
Unless it's an in-joke. This play is full of in-jokes, more of which to be discussed anon. But yeah, it's full of them. And I'm definitely seeing in this scene there's an awful lot of potential. I mean, I did quite like the lawyer who's standing to do his big speech. And it's like, no, I plead guilty. And he's just like...
Yeah.
What? Not? I was expecting at least 5 days of refreshers. Come on.
Calling it boring legal stuff too. When
yeah. And gets to do some. People get to do some speechifying, and isn't that nice, Lois?
Yeah, the one really odd thing is this bit with the prince that, instead of just renouncing Sabrina to Samorat, he says,
Yes.
let's wait until next tomorrow and let me plead my case with her. And she says, yes, I'll let you do that because you've behaved so nobly, etc. And it's really weird. I mean,
it is weird. I was thinking that too. That yeah. What's that? What's that supposed to be doing? What purpose does that serve?
I was wondering that as well, and I sort of wondered whether there's a part 2 at the back of the writer's mind where the prince is going to get matched up with somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or they just felt it was like, we'll worry about that. That's you don't need to worry about that now. We'll not tie up that loose end there. But yeah, it turns out Orsabrin is really important. And just the way he sort of goes at the end of the day, just going, is anything real anymore?
Does this stuff keep happening to me?
Yeah. I'm starting to feel we're into life is a dream territory here. And then he woke up and it was all,
and it was the 5th act of a play.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, hang on.
There you go.
Start poking the wall. So yeah, I kind of think that conclusion did pretty much what we were expecting it to do. Sort of the lead up to it was the underpowered bit, and I feel that we could tweak that in rehearsal. I just think this is one where you just throw some actors at it with enough rehearsal and improv time to just make it sing. I think it's slight enough that it's asking for those additional changes and things. Of course, what I'm really interested in is what textually was different for the restoration revival, because the one thing I do know that was revived after the restoration, and that it had an ongoing sort of life. And was it this script? what did they do to it? There aren't enough female parts in it, really, without adaptation.
Yeah, and they had actresses, so they had plenty of people to play those parts.
And those early companies were pretty well balanced, actually. So you'll have a lot of people not doing anything. So I'd be curious to know if there is an extant version of that later. I suspect there isn't. I haven't noticed one.
Yeah, and the producers in the restoration were unafraid to alter the text that they inherited heavily. So they might have added another ingenue so that everybody gets paired off at the end. They could have done some pretty radical stuff for all we know.
They could have had some of the men played by women too, which is what they did with the Tempest adaptation. Yeah.
Whoa. You brought it up.
Adaptation.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, not having that.
It's called the Enchanted Island or something.
I bet they had some nubile devils in tights.
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and it's like, hi, we've been in the woods doing wood things, and it's right, okay, that's fine. Let's do some more backstorying and stuff. So yeah, any other sort of general things about this closing, more specifically in the player role, Lois?
It's a crowded stage.
A
lot of bodies.
Yeah.
Well, I did wonder, I mean, this is more about the whole play, but Suckling might very well have used his personal finances to make this really sumptuous, because he did that when he raised a troop for Charles I later. I mean, they ran away at the first battle, but apparently they had fantastic clothes. And someone said it was one of the finest sights in those days. And of course, I mean, Suckling was long dead by the time the Restoration came around. I didn't know about the Restoration revival. That's very interesting.
Yeah. All I know really is very much the edges of the internet, which I don't wholly trust because I don't have much on Suckling. But apart from allegedly, according to Aubrey, he invented cribbage.
Yeah.
But John Aubrey, do we trust anything that guy said ever?
Unreliable witness.
Yeah. But also this is part of the Second War of the Theatres, so that when people were looking for commentary on other actors and playwrights, you probably bang on. And that there is a post-mortem attack on Ben Jonson hidden in here, apparently. So that detection you were finding there, you weren't far off, I think. So yeah, there's a bit of shade going between the professional playwrights and this largely aristocratic playwright who's on the edges doing this kind of stuff. So it's in that universe apparently, but again, not very authoritatively. All of the things I just said there. More research needed, citations needed for a lot of that.
This is 1638?
Yeah, 38 is the date we got it. And he doesn't have long
Johnson is just recently dead. He only passed in August of 37. So his memory might be alive. And he had a larger than life personality. So
Oh yeah, no, Johnson is very much in the out there.
And he's a cultural touchstone.
Yeah.
Did he go around saying he was poor a lot? Because that's one of the gags associated with the poet.
Yeah. And that's I think that's the thing, and that's why it sort of feels a bit mean because the dude's just died. There's something a bit kicking him while he's down.
Putting him in sort of hell, even though it's not really hell.
Yes, and that's the thing. The play is playing with this game of hell, and I said last time, about this. They're all Foley artists. I do think you could really lean into the soundscape of hell that they're creating, and the stomping of screams, and stuff as they're dragged to the various different pits of hell that they've got available there, and it's just that. So when they are released and the blindfold's taken off, all this beautiful creature, and all the rest of it sort of does fit quite nicely. Lois, you were going to.
Yeah, well, I was thinking that if you put this on, you really ought to have a blown up image of the famous portrait of Suckling holding a volume, which I suppose I'm not meant to name here.
No.
But indicating his favorite author and his allegiance to this, because it does explain some of what is going on in this. Also, you did mention Life is a Dream, and I think it was I think it dates from 1635.
Mm.
So it is possible that Suckling could have read it.
Mm. Yeah. Though tonally, it's not.
No, it's not at all. But well, except for all the prison scenes, I mean, of course, there are prison scenes everywhere. I think they had a standard set of a prison in the Restoration because they kept wheeling it on from one play after another. Everybody's in jail at some point. Yeah.
So, let's go into final thoughts. I think we've got a pretty good overview of this. Improv, lots of fun, figuring out a logic to the doubling. I think that final scene we can reduce the number of bodies. The second we don't. Do we need 2 judges? I don't think so. And even the lawyer, etc., can be one of the others with a silly hat on who comes up. Because there's a lot of people who sort of enter sequentially, and I think that could be tidied up. There may also be elements to some of the plot lines that could just be trimmed back and just dispensed with. I think the core plot's really strong and the outer plots around it. But then there's just some characters I'm just going, is my journey really necessary? But I don't know what the process of figuring that out is beyond put some actors in a room and hope for the best. So yeah, final thoughts in the room. Any additional thoughts to that suggestion? Any new ideas that anyone wants to throw in? Alan, and then Lynn, and then Lois.
Yeah, I think with all the physical business that you've got with the running on, running off, Keystone Cops routines that turn up several times, I could see this as a youth theatre type production where the number in the cast is less of a material obstacle, because you can always find someone who can do run on, run off, change out, the occasional short line.
Yes, in the sense you almost want a very well drilled demon squad that who are just able to do that bump bump bump, change from one thing to another, and then you have the actual actors, as it were. Lynn.
Well, to echo Alan, I was thinking like the ideal production circumstances of this would be a performing arts high school, secondary school. I don't know what you call it in the UK. So you've got to, everybody wants to audition, so filling out the cast wouldn't be a problem. You might have a good sized stock of costumes from having done early modern plays before, and it doesn't have to match. It doesn't have to look designy. It's just like everybody has to have a costume. And you've got that sort of youthful exuberance, lots of energy. So yeah, I think a youth theater would be a great setting for this. The language isn't difficult, but it does have the I'm at Pentamer. So I think it's a great thing for young actors to cut their teeth on, and it would just be fun.
Yes, because the one of the things about the formatting of the script is sometimes it is not wholly clear what verse structure it's doing or whether certain bits are in prose or not. And there are lots of questions actually editorially to be asked about that, which nobody out there needs to worry about. That's one for us to play again, also to a degree, play around with in rehearsal and see what's actually coming out of it. Lois and Aidan.
Well, as far as cutting goes, I mean, I think I was expecting that poet finally to be the author of some sort of masque that they were going to put on at the end. But since he wasn't and they didn't, I think you could cut him altogether. I mean, that really is a kind of waste of time. And probably you could have just one person instead of 2 telling the story of what happened to Orsabrin. I don't know. You need those 2 guys, do you?
Probably not.
Yes, you do need an Ardellan and a Piramont. Can you just have one? Yeah.
It's structurally, it's a reflection of all these double acts that we've got.
Yeah.
This play is structured around pairs. 2 rivals for this woman, 2 rivals for that woman, 2 princes. The Smothers brothers of Pellegrin and Nassurat, that it's like everything comes in pairs. So
and Orsabrin is apparently the brother of somebody else who died, if I understood that rightly.
Yeah. It's I mean, in a sense, removing one of either Ardellan or Piramont is useful because there's a big scene and one of them has to come on. Whereas the poet, actually, to a degree, I'm not worried about because the poet can be anyone. The poet can double pretty much any member of the cast. I think the problem is the poet doesn't go anywhere, as you were saying. We had that scene early on when we had a succession of victims, and he's fine there. Whether we need him to come back again, I don't think so. We don't need to reiterate the mission statement per se. But I think also you could just improvise something different. I think who's being tortured and why, who's being satirized or why, is actually an opportunity. And that actually the poet stuff isn't that exciting. There might be a better analog to go for. Aidan.
As far as staging it goes, in terms of the number of characters, I was just reminded then when we were talking about the people running off with different hats of the stage adaptation of the 39 Steps and how that's 3 actors playing all these different characters. It'd be fun to see how few people you could do this with, because it's a sprint, not a marathon. Depending on the audience's capacity for chaos, it could be quite charming if at the end everyone's running off and coming on with the wrong costume and saying the wrong lines. It just occurred to me.
Yes, and I think actually if we sat down and really went through it, we could probably do this with a standard early modern company size of 12 to whatever. It looks like it's got this massive cast because there are random thieves and random jailers and messengers, etc. But they're all people who can just put on a hat and run on and be playing someone else. I think actually when you go through it, it will resolve itself quite straightforwardly. It's not a small cast play. I don't think we could quite get it down to the full 39 steps because I think there is a core company that, but you might be able to get it down to 8 or something with some heavy adaptation, and people literally running off and running on again in the same scene, as opposed to it's that question of can you double people within a scene as opposed to between scenes, and that sort of logic. How far are you spinning on a sixpence? But yeah, it feels doable. There's nothing about this that's making me go, oh God, I can't see a route through. I sort of can. I just haven't done the paperwork.
I think there's definitely a route through, and I think this would work really well for an audience. You just need to kind of maybe pepper in a few more contemporary references, tweak the structure a little bit, and I think it would be huge fun.
And again, what we were talking about earlier about, how long is it? I definitely think this is it's sub 90 minutes now, I think, in its running time. I think once we've made the minor cuts that we think it needs and those structural changes and the pace it wants to go at, it could be a 75, 80-minute show without an interval now. That feels plausible. Might not, it might still stretch out. But it definitely feels like an interval. It doesn't want one. It really doesn't want one.
Agree, totally. Very much agree.
I mean, the other thing you could do is make it more of a musical because there is already a drinking song and probably a dance. And, there's plenty of room for it. When you've got doubles, you've always got the possibility of dancing.
But you got to find someone who can write music. And you know what? That's kind of hard. Yeah. There was I won't diss it on YouTube, but yeah, there was a musical that was generated in California here a few years ago, and it was on a topic that I really wanted it to be good, and it just wasn't. Just wasn't.
Well, we're going to work on the assumption that our hypothetical production has really good people involved in it who know who can do that job. It's potentially a trap as well as because the only disadvantage with songs is unless they're up tempo songs that they can kill them. The problem with that drinking song is it's the kind of thing that might slow a production down rather than speed it up. Whereas the wedding could be quite exciting. We could actually stage the wedding a bit, and that would actually up the energy before the.
Well, it's more physical. There's dancing as well as singing, so that's more entertaining.
As opposed to the static prison scene, which I thought was a bit long anyway. I kind of thought I don't need any of it.
Yeah.
Is this journey necessary? Any other thoughts before I close the session? Yeah.
The only other thing I wondered about was those interrogation sessions. They looked to me, they weren't really interrogations at all. The devils were basically saying what they either what they'd already found out from the prisoners, and they were just getting them to agree, or they were telling them, brainwashing them essentially. You were a terrible person, weren't you? Oh yeah, I was. I mean, it all seems to be like that.
It's the Manchurian Candidate, but and
Yeah,
but funny. Because like that movie is not funny.
no, it's not.
It's so good, but it's so not funny.
Yeah.
Francellian
I just wondered
candidate.
about those scenes, whether exactly how one would do them.
Right. Well, generally a thumbs up from the 1630s there, and from Suckling, who I say so far we've looked at one of his other plays, which is lacking an ending, as I recall. So we've done a play and a half, and so far we're generally enjoying Suckling on a Suckling. So all that remains is thank all these wonderful readers for their wonderful reading. Thank you very much, everyone, and goodbye. Thou hast no more forecast than a squirrel.